Hi, so I was just sitting here with my dogs and I was thinking, the Australian landscape is amazing. We have some amazing species within it. But did you know that we have 2,000 threatened flora and fauna that are listed under our Environment Protection and Biodiversity Conservation Act of 1999? And did you know that as of December in 2019, 100 native species in Australia had gone extinct since European settlement? That number's pretty large. So why don't we go have a look at the effectiveness of our recovery plans.
So I've done some research, and recovery planning originated in USA in 1973. And a recovery plan is basically a government document that looks at the distribution, critical habitats, certain aspects of biology and ecology, and the key threatening processes that impact a species. And then they suggest management actions that will help to aid in the recovery of this species. However, a study by Bottrell in 2001 analysed 6,000 recovery plans in Australia and found that there was no direct link between actually having a recovery plan and whether or not the species actually recovered. This sort of suggests that maybe recovery plans aren't working. However, maybe the issue isn't not whether or not recovery plans are working, it's more about the misuse of recovery plans. You see, there's 3 different levels of recovery plans. The first level of recovery plan was looked at by Moore in 2004, and that's a regional or landscape recovery plan as they call them. These recovery plans are seen to be the most cost effective for covering a larger area, as they can look at the key threatening processes within an entire region and protect lots of species by doing that. And they can also inadvertently protect species that haven't been listed. However, these plans are often a little bit too broad and don't focus enough on the specific threats of certain species. That's why we have another level, which is a single species recovery plan. These recovery plans focus on a single species and are really good for species that are either critically endangered or have really unique threats. And so they need their own management plans that will best aid in the recovery of these species. The third level of recovery plans is multi-species recovery plans. These plans often find a really good balance between not being too broad while still being cost effective enough in that they are able to group a bunch of species together based on really key threatening processes that therefore make it specific enough to those species while not being too broad and still being cost effective that we can cover more species with the same recovery plan. So why might it be, even when we do implement the right recovery plans, that they don't seem to work? Well, a lack of clarity around goals and specifically concepts regarding recovery and an actual recovered species is deemed to be really an issue. And a paper by Westwood in 2014 suggested that generalising a framework that really defines these sorts of things on a national level is critical. Additionally, recovery plan success is also low due to species not being listed quick enough under the Endangered Species Act. And therefore also not getting recovery plans as a result of this quick enough. So speeding up this whole process would really help. Finally, climate change is another reason that recovery plans may not actually lead to the recovery of species in the long term. A study by Stewart in 2018 suggested that climate change is really underrepresented in recovery plans, especially when you consider the fact that climate change is going to be a key threatening process to many of our species going forward.
So as you can see, recovery plans aren't working nearly as well as they should be here in Australia. However, with a few little tweaks and some serious considerations to how we use our recovery plans and which recovery plans we do use, recovery plans really can help in the management and aid in the recovery of threatened flora and fauna that we find here in our beautiful country. Don't you reckon?